Yeah, you know it's getting real now. You know it's getting real now. You know we weren't making things up. We wasn't just tripping. Oh, Stephanie White got on camera and said it. She admitted they blew it. There's no size on the team. There's not enough size. Stephanie White finally admitted her, Amber Cox, Kelly Crosskoff in the front office blew it again for a second straight offseason. They blew it in an offseason in which 80% of the players were free.
What does it really signal when a coach subtly admits the roster lacks depth, the rotations aren't clicking, and the analytics fail to match the hype, especially with expectations skyrocketing around Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever? The moment Stephanie White spoke with unfiltered honesty, it no longer felt like careful strategy. It sounded more like an early warning that many weren't ready to acknowledge. Is this genuinely a team ready to contend, or simply a rebuilding project being framed as something more? And how long will it take before these quiet concerns evolve into headlines that can't be ignored?
Okay, I don't see it as building a team around Kelsey Mitchell, but I just don't like her words because it does sound like, oh, we gotta give her the chance to lead the team and stuff like that, and like it's a rite of passage, like it's a born right or something for her. Lady, the reason why you came to the Fever wasn't because of Kelsey Mitchell, ding dong. The main reason why you came to the Fever is because of Caitlin Clark. Let's keep it a buck. That's the same thing with Kelly Crosskoff and all these goons like Amber Heard and all them jokers. All came for Caitlin.
The most telling moment of the entire offseason didn't come from a blockbuster trade, a marquee signing, or even on the court. It surfaced during an otherwise routine media appearance when Stephanie White spoke with a level of honesty that quietly peeled back the narrative surrounding the Indiana Fever. What should have been a standard update instead became something far more revealing, an unguarded glimpse that felt less like messaging and more like an unintended expose.
The two worst words associated with the National Basketball Association right now is load management. That's the two words that has greatly assisted the NBA in falling from grace as the clear-cut, at one time, the clear-cut number 2 sport after the NFL.
As the comments hinted at deeper structural cracks, concerns that extend far beyond routine roster adjustments and cut directly to the underlying philosophy shaping the organization's recent decisions.
We all address the Indiana Fever, and like I said, I'm not here to get on Raven Johnson. I just think there were better options out there. Now, we got on this team during free agency, said, hey, where are the bigs? Where's the size? Okay, you didn't get enough bigs. I wasn't comfortable with just Maisha Hines-Allen and Dantas as the only bigs off the bench. I mean, we don't know what Michaela Timpson is. The
prevailing assumption was that the Indiana Fever were intentionally constructing a legitimate contender around Caitlin Clark, a talent so dynamic she should streamline every roster decision. A player of her caliber demands a lineup tailored to amplify her strengths, which in practical terms means prioritizing size, dependable shooting, and positional versatility to fully capitalize on the defensive attention she consistently commands.
We got Stephanie White is also day 5 for the training camp. We about to hear her thoughts. Hey, don't look at me. Don't look at me. We got to watch her. We know she will flip-flop real quick in these interviews. You see what I'm saying? Let's not forget DeWanna Bonner. That was all Stephanie White. She's the one who brought her over here from Connecticut.
Instead, the roster's design is beginning to raise more serious concerns, most notably its heavy lean towards smaller guards, a choice that runs counter to the size typically required to compete with the league's most physical teams. What once seemed like harmless speculation has now taken shape as a real issue, shifting the focus from what the Indiana Fever might become to what they are currently missing. That reality became impossible to overlook when Stephanie White openly addressed the team's lack of physical presence. Her remarks about certain opponents posing matchup challenges due to size weren't offhand comments. They underscored a deeper structural imbalance within the roster. When a head coach publicly acknowledges such a fundamental disadvantage before the season even tips off, it reflects a level of internal recognition that is rarely shared so openly around the league. Franchises like the New York Liberty provide a clear model for success, built around the size, versatility, and two-way dominance of players like Breanna Stewart and Jonquil Jones. In comparison, Indiana's current rotation appears less like a deliberate strategic approach and more like a collection of overlapping skill sets, one that could struggle to hold up against consistent physical pressure over the course of a season.
Caitlin Clark was not there. Would she flock to the Indiana Fever after the Connecticut Sun run? No, she wouldn't. So stop this nonsense about priority this, prior that. Okay? Just get the deal done. All right? Just get the deal done. It's just the words that she's using. It just sounds goofy. It sounds like she talks to both sides of her mouth, and that's why I'm not a fan of Stephanie White. She straight up lies a lot. I don't trust what she says, and she's kind of shady, bro. She got the worst poker face ever because I just don't believe her.
But the concerns go beyond matchups on the floor. They reach into the team's financial setup, adding another layer of complication. In that same media session, Stephanie White pointed to aspects of the salary structure that she found difficult to fully make sense of, a comment that carries real weight. When a head coach publicly questions how the roster is financially constructed, it suggests a potential gap between the front office's long-term strategy and the reality taking shape on the court. A deeper look at the contracts reveals meaningful investments in role players like Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull. The problem isn't any one deal on its own, it's how those commitments stack together within the salary cap, especially as the Indiana Fever approach a pivotal stage in Caitlin Clark's career. With Clark nearing eligibility for a significant extension, preserving cap flexibility becomes critical. Allocating too many resources early in the build can limit the team's ability to adjust down the line, particularly when it comes to adding the precise pieces needed to fix evident weaknesses and push the roster toward true contention.